Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me this morning. I actually am going to tell you a story today. And life experience can really give us a lot of knowledge. And obviously, some of you know I've been doing this for a long time. I've been in the industry for, it'll be coming up on 32 years. And one of the things that I do for clients is take a look at their property and casualty insurance. And in particular, I wanted to talk about auto insurance today. So I myself had never really been involved in an accident that was, in my eyes, a major event until March 2nd of 2018. So it was a Friday morning. It was about 7:30, and I had just left the house to go to the office. I was less than 2 miles away from my house, which I don't know if you've ever heard the statistics, but they say most accidents happen within 25 miles of your home or something along those lines. Um, and I was on a road that gave me the right of way without stopping to turn left. The road on my left had a stop sign and they had to yield to traffic going either way. And as I approached the intersection, I clearly saw that there was a car sitting there. And so I had my left turn signal on. I proceeded to turn left. And as I was doing so, he pulled out from the stop sign and T-boned me um, between the door on the driver's side and the front wheel of my car. Um, and I don't know about you, but I had never been through a trauma event as such as that. I was clear enough to move the car and get it off to the side of the road, and the other gentleman did as well. Um, but I was completely shaken up by the event. Right away, we called 911, um, called my husband, and he was on the scene, very quickly. Actually, he might have been there before the ambulance was. I'm a little blurry on what happened at that point, but they did take me by ambulance to the hospital to have me checked out. Um, Fortunately, nothing severe, although I did go through many different tests, many different treatments until I actually found a physical therapist who was able to get me back on the right road. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I had a little setback this week and I'm having a little bit of a problem with my hip. So I went back to physical therapy and this all just brought it back again. But what I found, and where I'm in the state of Pennsylvania, is that Pennsylvania is considered a no fault state. And so, even though it was clearly his fault, the police were there, a police report was written, and I just assumed that his insurance would pick up everything. Well, interestingly enough, I found out that his insurance only at this point picked up the coverage of getting my car repaired. The medical coverage for me and for all of my doctor visits and physical therapy and things like that were actually covered by my insurance. And the medical expense coverage that I had purchased was $10,000. Now, considering that nothing was broken and I didn't have to have surgery, it didn't go through that $10,000 as quickly as somebody else who might have those types of issues. But once my $10,000 ran out, it was back on my shoulders. I was responsible to cover the cost. And in most cases, I might not have thought too much about it, but the person that I had found, the physical therapist who was helping me through this, who was doing a phenomenal job in bringing me back to being whole, was not part of my insurance. So I ended up having to pay out of pocket. Well, as you can imagine, I'm now going back to the other insurance company and I want to be reimbursed for that. But as I'm working through the system, they're also stating that, I do have the right to ask for pain and suffering, of which I had a lot. I had many months of which I could not do anything other than work and came home and sat on the couch because it was just too exhausting, both mentally and physically. But I just thought it was important that I share with you that that medical expense coverage that you have on your policy might be something that you want to go back and take a look at because $10,000 wouldn't go very far in today's medical world, especially if you had to have surgery or, something else much, much more dire than what I went through. But the other thing I wanted to share with you was I have coverage, and again, I'm focusing on the state of Pennsylvania because every state's a little bit different about this. You get to pick coverage that's either full tort or limited tort. And limited tort may basically, from the terms, limit the amount that you can go back after for the other coverage if somebody else had caused the accident. And in my case, I had full tort, which means I can go back after everything. I basically have opened this up so that I'm not limited for how much I can actually collect. I'm not looking, and I know this is a litigious society these days. I'm not looking to make buku dollars over this, but I do believe that I'm entitled to um, some restitution for this. So it's also important that you understand if you have full or limited tort. The other things to take a look at when it comes to automobile insurance is the liability. So most policies have liability based on injury that you may cause to someone, and then it's capped on how much can be attributed to one accident, and then it also can be attributed to property that may be damaged. So something that's common here in Pennsylvania is you have $100,000 coverage per person, maybe 300,000 per accident, and then another 100,000 for property. But again, in the state of Pennsylvania, there's limitations. There's a minimum amount that you can actually purchase, which will lower the amount of premium that you're paying. But you need to be aware of that. So if you cause the injury, so that $100,000 might be per person, 300 per accident, 100 um, for property. The other thing to take a look at are things for uninsured and underinsured, meaning if the person who hit you did not have insurance or had the minimum amount of insurance required by law, your insurance company will also step in and help cover some of those expenses. Something else to look at is called stacking. And again, I'm focusing just on the state of Pennsylvania. Stacking is the ability to multiply the benefit that you have. So, for example, in our household, we have 3 cars and we have stacking on the insurance. And so, what that means is I can actually triple the coverage in any one of those particular areas. So, if it's liability, if I cause the accident, when it comes to one person, or multiple people, they can take that $100,000 coverage and go up to 300,000. A lot of people don't realize, and stacking isn't something that anybody teaches you anywhere. So hopefully your insurance agent had brought it to your attention. Now, if you only have 1 car, you don't need stacking because they're not going to multiply that coverage by the number of automobiles that you have in your household. The other important thing, especially in today's world, is that many of us have changed our situation and we're no longer going to an office or a workplace and we're actually working out of the home. You may want to talk to your insurance agent to see if there's any benefit or a potential of reducing your premium because you're not traveling as much or maybe not at all. And some insurance companies have stepped up to reduce your premium from that standpoint. So it's important to understand the benefits and the options that your particular state has. And I highly encourage that you have a conversation with your insurance agent and do it on a regular basis. Here's something else that I've learned over the years is that many times people deal with the insurance agent that their parents dealt with. It was just a nice transition. They already knew who you were. They may already have your automobile and coverage. And when you went out on your own, you just adopted working with them. But shopping for insurance can be very beneficial to you as opposed to just being stale and sticking with whoever you have. The other thing is to have a regular conversation with them. I just talked to my agent about 3 months ago because my youngest son turned 25. And in this case, we had him going off on his own policy. And by talking through some of the coverages that we had for both the homeowners, the automobile, and the umbrella insurance, we were able to increase my medical because I learned the hard way. increased my medical coverage, and also we increased my deductibles. So there are a deductible for collision and a deductible for comprehensive. And comprehensive is just about everything else that's not collision. And if you are able to pay out of pocket more for those deductibles, it can actually reduce your premium. So if you have a pretty clean driving record and you also have maybe a little bit of cash sitting on the sidelines, that maybe you could take your deductible from $100, 250 up to 1,000, and it could save you some dollars on your premium. You really want to do a cost analysis there to say, you know what, if you're only saving $20 by taking it from $250 deductible up to $1,000 deductible, it might not be worth the cost there. But if you could save yourself $75 or $100, you're going to break even in a shorter time frame. So it's important to take a look at that as well. The other thing here in the state of Pennsylvania, we have something called first party benefits, and they are not required by law. But there are three major types of benefits there. The first one is a disability payout. So I have seen on many occasions that the insurance company would pay you $1,000 a month to some kind of maximum. Maybe it's $1,000 up to a maximum of 5,000. It kind of steps in case you are not able to work or you lose your income because of the accident, that type of thing. The other one of the other ones is a funeral benefit. Many times I've seen $2,500 as being the common benefit that you can get for funeral cost. And then the third one is um, the medical expense that I mentioned earlier. Actually, you're not required to have that, but I'm highly encouraging you to have that. Interestingly enough, all of these are low cost expenditures that go along with it. So it's important to understand your policy. If you haven't looked at it in a long time, please step back and look at it. Look at your homeowners, give your agent a call. I'm going to do another video in a couple of weeks on umbrella or personal liability insurance because this is one area that I find frequently people do not have this type of coverage. And it can be very beneficial if someone else is on your property or involved in a car accident because of you. An umbrella policy is very inexpensive, but it could be very beneficial. So just wanted to touch on the auto insurance for today. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to give me a call at 412-346-4655. My email address is Diane, D-I-A-N-E, at pearsonfinancialplanning.com, or you can comment on this video. I would really appreciate it if you found this of value, that you share it with friends or family. I'm happy to if you share with me, well, one thing I learned is you can't actually share this video because we're in a private page. But if you let me know who they are, I can invite them to join our private page, and hopefully they can get a little bit of additional information from what I'm trying to share here. So I hope everything is well with you and yours, and have a great day.